Giroud. Cazorla!
Hello, good evening and good morning, and welcome to the Gooner Ramble and AFTV podcast. On today's edition, we'll be talking to Gooner on the road Peter Anderson, finding out the matchday habits and rituals of all the Gooners he's had the pleasure of meeting with on his journey so far. We've also got Dan Levine from FT Pro on the show, and he'll be joining us in the general discussion with Arsenal. We've got two regulars on the show tonight. We've got Mo Hader. How you doing, Mo?
Not too bad, thank you.
And we've got golfing guy Rick. How you doing, Rick?
Doing well.
Good stuff. Right, so let's get cracking. We'll start with you, Peter. Your name, everyone knows you as your Twitter handle, Gooner on the road. You've, I suppose most people have heard of your story. You've decided to go travelling, and you also decided to incorporate that with the whole breast cancer research thing, and whilst you're doing travelling, trying to see every Arsenal game around the globe. How has it gone so far?
Yeah, it's gone great, thanks. I've been on the road since the start of the football season. Been to a good, I'd say probably 30, maybe 35 cities so far. I'm on my third continent. I'm going to be on my fourth continent next month. And everybody that I've met has been fantastic. It's been a real insight into the global Arsenal fan base. I had a little bit of exposure of North America before I did this, but this is basically just taking it to a whole other level.
Okay, and which continent are you in currently?
I'm in continent-wise Australasia, so I'm in New Zealand, probably as far away as you could possibly get from the Emirates right now.
All right. Okay, and how's your hacker coming on?
I don't know. I'm going to see if I can maybe get a class or something. I haven't been too adventurous as far as that goes, but
good stuff.
I've still got time yet.
Good stuff. I take it you saw the game yesterday. What time did you have to get up? In the morning, or was it, let's say, out in the night to see that?
It was basically stay out all night. It was a 4 a.m. kickoff.
Cool.
It was beers last night. I watched an A-League, an Australian A-League game. Wellington, which that's where I am at the moment, Wellington, New Zealand. They have a team called the Wellington Phoenix, and they played the Melbourne Victory, and they actually won 5-0, which was I would say it's probably League One Championship level football. So we did that, and then stayed out, made sure we stayed awake for the 4 a.m. kickoff, which we did, and obviously Cazorla got 2 goals. We're happy about that. That's another 3 points.
Peter, just a quick one. So because obviously we watch the games at sensible times because it's we're in England sort of thing, but what's the atmosphere like? Where do you go and watch it? How many people are there? Set the scene for us, so we get an idea of what it's like for global Gooners.
Yeah, I mean, my goal was really anything. My goal was just to watch Arsenal with another Arsenal supporter, and that can be anything from myself and another Arsenal supporter watching it on his TV at home, or going to the local supporters club pub. In the US, generally speaking, it was a supporters club. There'd be anything from maybe 20 or 30 people through to a couple of hundred people at the supporters bar, depending on the time of day, the level of fixture it was, and whereabouts it took place as well. Yesterday, we watched it at a local Arsenal fan's house, and there was about 5 of us just all piled round the sofa watching on a small 23-inch flat screen TV. And,
oh, great. Okay.
It's not so much about. Sometimes it doesn't matter if it's it's just a handful of people. As long as you see a game live with a couple of other Gooners, it's that's what counts.
I was in San Francisco at one point, and I drove across America, and I was actually meant to come back to Heathrow on kind of Saturday morning, go straight to the ground. I was with a friend, and he was going to take care of my suitcase and go back home, sort of thing. And I was going to go straight to the ground to watch Arsenal Tottenham. And unfortunately, my flight got delayed, so I had to stay there an extra night. As you can imagine, I was gutted. And a friend of mine had put me in touch with a Gooner who lives in San Francisco. He kind of picked me up from my hotel and took me to a bar in central San Fran. And the scene there was unbelievable. This was like 5 in the morning or something. We had to watch it because it was a midday kickoff. And there were about 40 Gooners eating Krispy Kremes for breakfast and drinking pints. Really, really good atmosphere. I was amazed at kind of just how passionate they were there at such a ridiculous time. So
that would have been I think it's Maggie McGarry's.
Exactly that. I knew it was an Irish name, and all I could think of was Paddy McInnes. So have you had experience of that place as well?
Yes, I have. Yeah, so I was there for the Dortmund game, and Dortmund away, where Ramsey scored at the Westfalen Stadium. There is actually a video on my YouTube page. It's a pretty shoddy quality video of the reaction. They've captured the reaction of some of the Arsenal fans there when Ramsey scored that goal. It paints quite a nice little picture. But suffice to say, I've experienced that a number of times. That kind of support throughout my journey to date. The guys in Gothenburg. I was there for the North London derby at the end of August for that one. There was about 200 people there. That was my first kind of real insight into overseas supporters clubs outside of another special mention, which is the Blind Pig in New York City, which is really kind of just it's something in itself, really, that place. But outside of that, the Gothenburg Gooners were really good. The Bay Area Gooners in San Francisco have got something really special going on, and the Orange County Gooners as well. They're in Santa Ana, which is around about 40 minutes drive from Los Angeles. Those guys have got a really, really big following as well, and it just seems to be getting better and better. When you look at North America and NBC's kind of coverage of the Premier League, and MLS is kicking off now as well. Everybody's wanting to get wanting to start following the Premier League more and more, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of it.
Cool. All right, Peter, you spoke of New York. Obviously, we've got a famous ex-Gooner playing for the New York Red Bulls, and you spoke of the Blind Pig. Did you manage to get to over there? Did you manage to see any
get to a Red Bull game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I think I've seen 4 MLS, maybe 5 MLS matches whilst I was over there, and I've got to say, the Red Bull match was the most disappointing I've seen.
Really?
All of them. Yeah.
Right.
But I think it was just one of those games, to be honest. It was kind of quiet, a little bit stale, match-wise. I think they were playing FC Dallas.
Right. Okay.
That was August time. Was it August time? No, early September time. But
okay.
But it was it's a great stadium, and Thierry was playing. He wasn't getting a lot of service at all at that game that I watched, but yeah, he's a legend. So that's why I went to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to bring in a special guest tonight. If you, I'm kind of choked up a bit here, but I'd like to bring in the one and only ex-Gooner, current New York Red Bulls player, Thierry Henry. Yep. Thierry, what have you got? Have you got any questions for our guest, Peter Anderson?
Well, it's fantastic to hear all the passion from the fans around the world, because we wanna believe it's one big family. It's one big family, because when you go to, if you're in New York or Australia, you can always watch a game. I was in Toronto recently, and I was with a couple of my friends, and one of them took me to a pub, and just to get the feeling from the fans is amazing there. And they wake up at crazy hours, 2:00 in the morning, and it's amazing. It's a lot of passion, a lot of dedication, and we think we have a lot of dedication, training hard and in the club, but we have a lot of fans following us around the world, and it's a lot of passion, and I love it. So a question for you is where is the most passionate fans, Arsenal fans around, the most dedicated? Is it Australia, or because they're waking up early, or where is it for you, the most passionate?
Well, I mean, I think you probably hit the nail on the head in terms of the most passionate, based on the hours that these guys have to get up at in Australia and New Zealand. It really is silly o'clock. The guys here, they do such a sterling job as well. They all get together. They've got really good kind of community spirit. I was in Sydney, and they managed to raise 2,000 Australian dollars, which is around about the same in the US. For my cause in the space of around about 90 minutes during the game that we lost 6-3 to against Manchester City. So they're really dedicated. They'll get up at silly o'clock, and I don't really want to say that there's anyone that's more dedicated than someone else, but the guys in Australia do a really, really good job.
I have a quick question. Why was the Red Bulls boring? I wasn't playing well.
You were playing fine. It was the service you were getting wasn't good.
It's not. I haven't got Cesc or Santi, so I cannot.
Yeah. Well, it was obviously just a bad day. Bad day for your colleagues.
Thierry, just want to say, Mo here, by the way. I don't know if you remember me. I met you outside the ground once at Highbury back in the day, before you were amazing. And I remember saying to you as you were getting into a car, don't worry, we've got faith in you. The goals will come, and we all love you. And you said thank you, and I had a little hug and all that. And then as you were getting in the car, I said to you, say hello to Zizou for me. He knows who I am. And you laughed and got in the car. And then after that, you started scoring loads of goals. And I've always thought that, I think I made you feel a bit more at home in England. And, after that interaction with me, you kind of thought to yourself, you know what, I like it here. I actually your morale got boosted. Is that what happened? Is that the story behind your form and your success at the club?
You hit the nail on the head. More. I've got to be honest with you. I always, not talking to the boss. He always asks me, what was the turning point? What was the turning point in your career? I said one day I was outside the ground, and this guy come to me, and I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about scoring goals, but I just said to him, it's more. Because he gave me the faith. That's all I can say.
I've never had any credit for it, so it's nice to get that on the record. I'm glad. And
thank you, Mo.
Guys, don't worry about it. It's the least I can do. It's for myself as well.
Well, I'll give you the golden boot.
Yeah, do you know what? That's a deal. I'll be on your case for that now. Peter, a question for you as well, mate. What made you do this? What happened? Why did you one day decide to say, that's it, I'm going to go travelling for a football season and watch every game abroad?
Well, my mum passed away in February last year from breast cancer, and I lost my job very shortly after, a very promising job. I lost through no fault of my own, and I guess I was in a really, really bad place, and I decided to go travelling. Initially, it was just just for a couple of months, just get away, do the backpacking thing, find myself, as some people might say. What I basically, before asking myself and asking people about visas and vaccinations and where to go and where to avoid, I was like, well, where am I going to watch Arsenal on my travels? And that was the first thing that popped into my head, and what was originally supposed to be a kind of 2-3 month trip had turned into a challenge to see if it's possible to watch, if it is possible to do it. Is it possible to watch every single match, live with another Arsenal fan whilst travelling the world, 4 different continents across 9 months. It's also a really good exercise to see just how how spread out this Arsenal fan base is, and how how dedicated they are to the badge, the community spirit, and how far can you go? How far can you go as an Arsenal fan? How far can you go with with fellow Arsenal fans to help you out with a really, really good cause? And so far it's really beyond my wildest expectations.
Do you have 100% success
really
rate?
Taken off.
Do you have a 100% success rate in watching the games?
Yep. Yeah, to date. Yep.
Yeah. And how much have you raised?
I've raised, so my goal is $15,000 because it's an American charity. It's the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation.
Right. And the exchange rate's been working in your favour then, if you've been raising it in pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So the goal is 15,000, and I've hit 10,000. Just over 10,000 now. And to be fair, most of those, most of the the biggest donations have come from the local supporters clubs that I've been visiting. So some of the bigger ones were, let me see. So the guys in Gothenburg, for example, those were the first supporters clubs to do it. They raised $900 in the North London derby.
Wow.
There's a North Carolina supporters club that's raised $500. Madison in Wisconsin, they raised $1,100. I didn't even actually go. I wasn't even in Madison. They just thought it was a really, really good idea, and they really wanted to help me. Let me see, Dallas, those guys raised, I think, around about $500. The Orange County Gooners, for the Man United game that we lost, they raised $1,500, and then the Sydney guys raised like $2,000. So you can see, big chunk of it's coming from those supporters clubs. So what I'm looking for is, is more, bigger volume, basically, more individuals donating $5 here, $10 there, that kind of thing. That's all about exposure.
Well, I will be donating a little bit. I thought, I wanted to anyway, but I thought I'll wait till you come on the pod. So after this, if you share the link with me on Twitter, I'll retweet, and also I will go on and dip into my pocket as well. It's a great cause what you're doing, and really amazing story.
Absolutely, and we'll put it also on Arsenal Fan TV as well. So we'll get the donation button on there as well.
Thank you very much.
And get something going on there as well. I just wanted to ask. No, Rick, have you got one for Peter?
No, Mo's doing an absolutely complete job, and he's taking all my questions.
Sorry, Rick, mate. Sorry. Thing is, I'll be honest, I've really, really been looking forward to speaking to you, Peter. Just the whole thing about it, and especially after my experience in being in America and seeing it, it's something that really appeals to me. And every holiday I go on now, I always try and make sure that I've got plans in place to watch the Arsenal games. So I've really been looking forward to it, which probably explains why I've stolen all the questions, Rick. So apologies for that.
Peter, you gained a little bit of a notoriety or weight as well. In America, I know you was on one of the TV stations as well. You got quite, you got a gig on. Well, you was invited to go on one of the TV news stations over there in America. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was on a couple actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on. There was this local NBC one in North Carolina. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning for that one, but I've been doing that anyway for the matches. So that was nice. Got a little bit of exposure there. I was on a TV channel in Sweden as well, TV4. That's like the national TV channel, I think, there. So I was on morning TV in that one. There was one in Oklahoma. That was quite funny because that was actually someone that I was with watching a college football game. And I was telling him the story, and it wasn't until afterwards, until the college football game had finished, he was like, right, I'm actually a reporter for News 9 in Oklahoma City, and we've got to do something. We've got to get you on the TV somehow, do an interview with you. But we weren't in Oklahoma City at the time, and he didn't have a camera crew or anything, so he did it all with his iPhone. And then he got it on the show the next day. So yeah, there's been a number of different things. It's obviously really, really important to get this kind of exposure for the charity more than anything else. It also helps for lining up Arsenal fans to watch games with and to stay with as well. Because one other important a really important foundation of this whole challenge is the Arsenal family helping to accommodate me and put me up, because I've only got I've got a very, very limited funds. I left the UK after the round the world ticket with £3,500 to do 9 months. So I thought the only way that I'm going to manage to do that is if I couch surf with other Arsenal fans. So to date, everywhere I've been, I've also been kipping on Gooner's couches and beds and blow-up mattresses and whatnot. And so that kind of exposure, helps with that as well.
Yeah.
I was, for example, I was on the Arsecast in late November time, and somebody from New Zealand listened to the Arsecast and said, "Hey, I heard you on the Arsecast. When you're in New Zealand, feel free to sleep in my spare bed or on the couch." So yeah, it's that kind of stuff is very, very important.
Okay, great stuff. So you're in 3 of the 4 continents. The 4th continent will be which continent?
Asia.
Will that be Asia?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, great stuff. All right. So how long have you gone?
You're not going to Pakistan by any chance, are you? Because I can hook you up there.
I'm not. No, I'm not. There's so many countries that I want to do, but I just can't do everywhere, unfortunately. Japan was on the original itinerary, and India was, somewhere else I wanted to go. Nepal even. A number of Arsenal fans in Nepal have got in touch, but it's going to be Hong Kong, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. But who knows? If it's a success, then we'll have to see what I can do next season.
Good stuff.
I know someone in Hong Kong. If you haven't got any plans, give me a shout.
Okay, well, I will definitely get in touch with you about that. Yeah, that'll be quite handy.
Cool.
And I think I've got somebody in Singapore, but I don't think he's a Gooner. But that shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't really.
Yeah, I think I've got someone over there in Singapore, so hopefully, who knows, we can get you sorted out over in Southeast Asia. Right, so moving on to the game yesterday. 2-0 victory, lads. I don't know how you saw it, but as first half was a bit of a struggle. Second half we got our shooting boots on. Santi Cazorla was looking imperious yesterday. I'm going to ask you, Akil, what your thoughts are for the game. Were you at the game yesterday?
Yep, I was.
Good.
Yep.
Good. And what are your thoughts?
I thought generally we were always comfortable. We started the game quite well. The first 10 minutes we pretty much kept most of the ball. But then something weird happened where we just didn't get the ball, and Fulham kept the ball really well without threatening. I think Pesney made one save in the first half. But I was never worried at any stage. I did think our chances would come, and then second half it was all us. Santi scored the 2 goals, but we did have a few other chances. Podolski had a few. Obviously Mesut Ozil had run the first half too, but I think it was quite comfortable. I think it was a good 3 points overall.
Mm-hmm. Rick, your thoughts? Did you think? What did you think of the first half performance? It was really a game of 2 halves in terms of our performance. What are your impressions?
It was just another one of those games where we just didn't seem to be clicking. In the first half, there's some misplaced passes, some bad reception of the ball, bad trapping, and it just was a little disappointing. It was against a team, Fulham, that really doesn't have anything going for them right now. And you'd hope that we'd just walk in there and, not walk in there, but invite them in and just destroy them. Put 5 or 6 past them, and we ended up getting 2 and could have had another one, but it was just disappointing that we just can't put teams like that to the sword. That we just let them linger, give them a slight bit of hope for a moment. And it was a good result in the end, but it was just a team that I just wanted to destroy, and we didn't.
Yeah. Peter, before the game, Renan Mulenson said that Arsenal offer no secrets. Everyone knows the way we play. Do you think he got his tactics generally right, and we kind of found our feet in the second half? Were you expecting us to give them a good beasting, or do you think we're due to give someone a good beasting?
I think we're due to give someone a big beasting, but I'm not expecting us to give anybody I'm not expecting any game to be a 4 or 5-0 romp at the moment, because we can't seem to do it. We don't seem to have that kind of. We're not ruthless enough. after these games, you come away and you think, oh God, 3 points, that's fantastic. That's all we can ask for is 3 points, as long as we keep on getting that. But I always look ahead at the next match, and I always think to myself, 4-5-0, you've got the other team that you're playing quaking in their boots, and they changed their tactics to suit based on, the previous game that we had. And I think we need that. We need that just for the, it's not so much confidence. I think we've got a lot of confidence. It's just the whole psychological thing with, our upcoming opponents. Maybe I'm hoping that, Coventry at home, it might be quite a big change in lineup. I'm not sure, being an FA Cup, but, I'm hoping we're gonna smash a couple past them, but this is football, anything can happen.
Cool. All right. Mo, you were there?
Yes, I was.
Go ahead.
Well, it's a strange one because whenever I go to the ground, I always think to myself, I'll take a 1-0 all day. As long as we get 3 points, I don't mind. But you can't deny the expectations you take to the ground, or when you watch the game, wherever you watch it, the expectations you have. And I was thinking there, I want Giroud to bag a couple, and, I expect us to really put them to the sword. But for some reason, we're winning every game. We're so consistent, but we're not just destroying teams. And I did find that a bit frustrating. The one thing that frustrated me more than anything against Fulham was that we seemed to attack with a decent amount of fluidity and pace up to a certain point, and there was almost like a magnetic force that pushed us back when we got to about 20 yards out, and then we stopped. And the passing wasn't snappy enough, it wasn't quick enough, we allowed them to get 2 banks or 4 back, and we just kind of started passing sideways. And I was finding that really frustrating. I was so many times in the game I was thinking, there's no movement here. There wasn't enough fluidity in that final third, which I found a bit disappointing. But look, ultimately, we came out and we did the business, and I'm not going to complain. There's no need for negativity. We're not always going to play our best, and it's an old cliche, but when you're not playing your best and you still win, hallmark of a title-winning team. So, overall,
Isn't it great that we're sitting here complaining that we only won 2-0?
Exactly.
True.
Exactly, yeah.
True. Makes a difference.
I don't think we're complaining. I just think we're pointing things out. But if you look at it, we've had more of a chance of scoring 3 or 4 past the big teams than we have the small ones this season. You look at us at the Etihad. We scored 5 goals at the Etihad, 2 of which were wrongly ruled offside. Against a team that comes out and attacks. If you look at, you look at Barcelona against Getafe, at home, this weekend in the Copa del Rey, they won 2-0 because they were playing against a team that had the back to the wall for the whole 90 minutes. So, it's always gonna be really tough to kind of, play, when you've got basically 11 people, 10 players, all standing on the goal line. You're going to find it really difficult to get a couple in. One thing that I want to mention is some people seem to be having a go at Ozil, saying that his work rate's not there, and he's not having the best of games. There was this, I can't remember, there was this one article I think I saw on Facebook, or one comment I saw on one of the forums about Ozil being compared to Arshavin in his work rate.
Yeah, Rich Man's Arshavin, I think.
Someone said that on Arsenal Fan TV in their interview, and oh god, I was tempted to jump in, and I found it ridiculous.
Yeah. The thing is with Ozil, right, is that he has everybody's got to remember that this is his first Premier League season, and the pace is always going to be different. And I want to say the competition is always going to be more fierce in the Premier League than it is in La Liga. You're playing teams like Adelante and Costa del Sol FC and Malaga United and all those teams. They don't really have the same kind of level of physicality as your Fulhams and your Stokes and everyone does. And the other thing is that Ozil, he's got that, he still has that indirect effect, the one that you don't really notice and the one that doesn't even really get measured, but you always have 2 or 3 people marking him. And what that does for a team like Arsenal is it opens it up for, you've got people like Jack Wilshere and, Santi in the team, and all of a sudden they're finding more space because you've got more people marking Ozil, then the better. I think next season, and Ozil's going to be unstoppable, but this season he's doing a good job You know, he's still made some good assists. He's scored some really good goals, and I just think he needs to just carry on what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I hope he doesn't listen to some of the some of the people out there giving him some stick.
I couldn't agree more. Axe, this accusation that he's a rich man's Arshavin, just like Peter said, people don't seem to appreciate that he's just come in. He didn't have a pre-season with us. He came in after the start of the season, And to be honest, for me, the way he started, I think people he set people's expectation level so high because of the way he started. They expected that he'd go through the whole season just like that. I mean, people forget that yesterday I think he had an 87 to 90% pass rate, which was the third highest in the game. What do you reckon to all these sort of these kind of mudslinging that people are, have been continually, leveling at Özil?
Yeah, I think when you get a player for such a high value, people are always going to expect a lot. But I mean, as you said, he did hit the ground running. He started really well. I think it's caught up with him a little bit. He hasn't had his normal winter break this year. I know he got sort of a week or so off, proper injury. But I mean, it takes time. I mean, if you still go back to probably our last 10 games and you look at most of the chances created, I would say Mesut Ozil was involved in quite a few of them. And I mean, even yesterday and on Monday night at Villa, I mean, at Villa, that ball to Monreal. I mean, Monreal gets the assist, Wilshere gets the goal, and everyone forgets about Mesut Ozil's ball. But without Mesut Ozil's ball, there was no assist or no goal. So I think it's a little bit harsh to start criticising him. I mean, when someone like Cristiano Ronaldo sort of is really disappointed that Mesut Ozil was allowed to be sold from Madrid, I think you have to start listening. So I think it'll take him a bit of time, because I mean, as you said, in Spain you have about 3 games a season pretty much, whereas here you have you have a fair few more. So I also think he has to sort of get Giroud's game. I mean, Mesut Ozil will, if you make a run, Mesut Ozil will find you. And with Olivier Giroud, is a different sort of player. He comes deep, tries to get the ball, tries to sort of link up play a little bit, and then obviously any sort of crosses, Olivier Giroud can attack. So I think with Ozil, I mean, we saw it with Walcott. When Walcott was in the team recently and against Sunderland, every time Walcott sort of made a run, Mesut Ozil found him. So I think he's still getting used to his teammates. I think him and Santi Cazorla are starting to now, are sort of on the same wavelength. They're starting to, their one-touch passing is starting to develop, and I've got no doubts that Mesut Ozil will come good. But of course, it takes time. But I still expect I'm still expecting a lot from Mesut Ozil from now till the end of May.
All right, Rick, you got something to add?
Yeah, I think the other issue I think some people have with Ozil is that he's so smooth. He glides across the pitch. I think a lot of people think that he's just visually looking at him, it doesn't look like he's working hard. He's just one of those guys that is so smooth. It's not like watching like Flamini run where you got, arms flailing and heads bobbing and he's huffing and puffing. That Ozil's just so smooth and he glides across the pitch so well that it just doesn't look like he's trying. But believe me, I think he's putting in a lot of work. And I think he's only going to get better as he gets used to the league. I mean, we can see now, like, Cazorla, what he's been doing the last couple of games. And I don't know how Mo's investigation's coming along, but, it truly is a mystery to most of us. Is he left-footed or right-footed?
He's definitely two-footed. Definitely two-footed. Yeah. No, you can't split it. Thierry, I know you've got to head off soon, so I want to ask you, what your thoughts were of the game. You were there with Gilberto Silva yesterday. I mean, listening to what all the guys have said about the Özil effect and so on and so forth. What have you got to say to the Arsenal fans? What kind of reassurances can you give? Having been in that position when you first came to Arsenal, what assurances can you give Arsenal fans?
Well, it's interesting to hear everyone's view because when you're in the position of Özil, and I was in that when I came from, a big price to, Wenger brought me in, and we sat down, and, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, you don't score a lot of goals. And with him, it's not about goals. It's about, keeping his performance up and creating chances. But there's a pressure. People don't understand the rhythm of the game in the Premier League. is so much, it's much different to, the La Liga or, some other leagues, because there's more, intensity, It's a big shock to him. I think he's at a great start. He's a great effect on the team, and to be honest, I have my faith in him. All I can say to Arsenal fans is be behind him, because he will be a big star for Arsenal in the future. And I'm talking about this season, next season, the season after. I was sitting next to Gilberto Silva yesterday, and we were saying, how amazing it would be to have him in the team. Okay, we had Dennis Bergkamp, but I said before, he's amazing, and we just have to be thankful we have him. He's a quality player. I watch him in training, and he does things that I cannot even dream. He picks the ball from, crazy angle. He sees things that we don't see. And this is special for Arsenal, and we have to be behind him. He's a special player.
Great stuff. Will you be around for the FA Cup match this week, this coming Friday, before you go back to America?
Yeah. I will be watching. It's just great to be around the team. The boss always to have me back, and with my pals, Bobby and the rest of the team. It's great. I love Arsenal, and I just want to be back here one day. Maybe soon.
Can you get me a ticket for Friday's game?
Yeah.
Before them guys jump in, I thought I'd get in.
We'll talk after the game, huh? We'll talk after the game.
Definitely. Thank you. All right, so that was Thierry Henry. Great having him on. All the best for the future, Thierry. Great. I know you've got to go. Mo, you've got something to add about the Mesut Ozil drama?
Yeah, first thing that Thierry saying, he looks at Mesut in training and thinks I can't do that or can dream of, absolute rubbish. Henry can do what the hell he likes. He can do anything. But about Ozil, when I go to the games, because of the criticism Ozil has received, there are times where I just watch him intently, watch his style, watch what he does. And there's something about Ozil where he's just, for me, he's a Rolls Royce of a footballer. The way he plays the game is very languid. His style isn't kind of like this ball-busting, all-action sort of thing. And I think as a result of that, to the untrained eye, you think somehow it's less effective. There's certain players in the world that when they do things, they do it like Hulk, for example. When he does something, it's usually like, wow, it takes your breath away sort of thing. But other players can be just as effective. It just won't look that good on the eye. And, for example, Gareth Bale. He's one of them players where when he does something, you think to yourself, wow, I can't do that. It looks so amazing. That's why I went for 80 million. But let me assure you all, if we try to do what Mesut Ozil does, we'd soon realise how technically difficult it is. It's just purely the fact that we don't have a trained eye, which doesn't allow us to fully appreciate him. As the point was made about people like, that Portuguese girl was so upset when Ozil left her club. They know how good he is. People like Mourinho, Wenger, the reason they spent that money on him is because they've got the trained eye. They realise how effective he is. He might not do it in a way that makes your jaw drop like Thierry Henry did a lot of the time, but Ozil is extremely effective, and it's no coincidence about the change in our fortunes.
Yeah, I just want to bring up 2 points about the Mesut Ozil and his performances. For those that are saying that he's a rich man's Arshavin and he's lazy and so on and so forth, he can't complete 90 minutes. I'm going to give you 2 games. The first time I came across Mesut Ozil was when I was watching the European Under-21 Championships. I think it might have been 5 or 6 years ago. England had beaten Germany in the group game, and then they met them again in the final. And I don't know if any of you saw that game, but Mesut Ozil ran that game from start to finish. They ended up whacking England 4-1. I think Frank Müller was in there, a few other, Manuel Neuer was in goal, Bab Studio was there, but Mesut Ozil was the standout player. I want to fast forward to World Cup 2010, when England met Germany in the knockout stages. Who was the man pulling the strings in that game? Mesut Ozil. Go and check that game on YouTube or whatever. Go and check that game and see how good this guy actually is. He's just come in. He's obviously got a big price tag. Give him time. Just like Bobby Perez when he first came to the club. That season, his first season was awful. He couldn't hack the physicality of the league. He spent the following summer building up, getting ready, getting his mind right, getting his game right, he exploded. Well, he actually exploded. I remember he actually exploded at the end, towards the end of his first season. I think we played Tottenham in the semi-final of the FA Cup, if I remember correctly, and he had an absolutely magnificent game. And that's when people started to sit up and take notice. Now, I think people should really give this guy a chance. He'll definitely give him a summer. I know he's got the World Cup coming up, but give him a summer, give him a bit of time. But if not by this season, definitely by next season, we'll see a world star. You know what I mean? People saying he's a rich man's Arsenal junior don't know football.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Giles. And also, you're saying give him a chance, give him time. You know, it's ridiculous you have to say that because he's got the second most assists in the league right now.
Exactly.
And bear in mind that he didn't start the season. He wasn't here at the start of the season. And it's his first season in English football. And he's got 7 assists, the second most in the league. I mean, seriously, what more do people want?
It's crazy. It is crazy. All right. I want to move on to this. Recently, I think on Monday Night Football, we saw there was a clip, of the substitution being made. What's his name? I think it was AFC. I can't remember who was coming on. I think it was Gnabry coming on, and Podolski shook his head. He was obviously disappointed by not being called from the bench. People made a lot out of it and started saying, there's a problem between him and Wenger. He's not been performing. Wenger obviously has more faith in Gnabry than he does Podolski. Could he be gone in the summer or gone by the end of this transfer window to keep his German World Cup hopes alive? I want to ask you guys, what do you make of this? Do you think people are making too much of it, or do you think there is actually something to it? Rick, what's your thoughts? I'm going to go with you first.
Well, I don't know if there's much to it. Maybe very slightly, because I know that he's brought back players from injury a lot quicker than he has brought back Podolski from injury. He seems to be either being extremely cautious or he just feels that others are a better option. It's hard to say that there's anything there, though, just from a shake of the head or something like that. We saw in the game. I mean, he came on and his left foot is Thor's hammer. It's a thunderbolt coming off of there. And we know what he can do. He can shoot. He can finish. He's very, very powerful and with his shot. I just wonder if Wenger's not putting him out there because he's not contributing to the whole passing and possession portion of the game as much as Gnabry or somebody else may. But it's hard to say that there's something off between him and the boss. I'm not prepared to believe that just yet.
Mug.
Yeah, I agree with what Rick is saying. Very wise words in terms of let's not read into a shake of the head, because I, for one, I detest sensationalist opinions. And, as an Arsenal fan, I'm not going to start drumming up phantom problems when there's really no evidence of them. So for me, this is a non-issue. I find it strange that he doesn't complete 90 minutes as a professional footballer, but that's all I will get to. That's the limit of what I'll say on this. It's strange that he doesn't do 90 minutes. I don't think there's an issue. I'm not even going to start speculating on something negative about Arsenal.
Okay.
Just on the 90 minutes thing, I know from without sounding funny, I know from the senior Arsenal source last season that he was carrying a slight ankle injury, and that was affecting his game, and that was the reason why he was taken off a lot. As for this season, I don't know. I think when you do come back from a long injury, it's always a little bit like that. But I mean, to be honest, if you ask me what's Podolski's best position, I'm not sure I could answer that. Is he a centre forward? Is he a centre forward alone? Can he play in the two? Can he play out wide? I think when you do play out wide, you have to give a lot coming back. And of course, if Mr. Wenger doesn't feel someone does that, then perhaps he'll go for other options. But it's just, I think Podolski just needs to keep working, and he certainly is one of our best finishers, and I think Arsene Wenger said that in his press conference on Friday about Podolski's finishing. So I think at the moment he actually works quite well as an impact sub. I think he came on yesterday and he had sort of a chance within about 20 seconds of coming on. Then he had the other thunderbolt that he smacked. And then, so, you know, he's obviously got a lot to, you know, he adds a lot of value, and I think he's definitely, I mean, if you want to win a title, you need a squad, so I'm sure Lucas Podolski's got a big part to play in that, mate.
Peter, Wenger said that he's got brains in his left foot. He's got a very, very intelligent left foot. You know, he came back from injury against West Ham and he changed the game. Yesterday he came in for a late cameo, champing at the bit. You know, gave us a little bit more dynamism. Are people making too much of this Wenger, Podolski, you know, some kind of undercurrent? Or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I think they are making too much of it. I think, like, you know, I think it's a non-issue. You know, like Rick said, I think it's a non-issue. I think if you have someone that's chomping at the bit to get on and, you know, gets pissed off when he can't come off the bench, then that's a good thing, right? You know, those are the kind of players that you want. You want the players that want to be getting in as many games as they can. So I don't see it as you know, as an issue. I'm sure he's gonna be utilised more in the future as well. You know, I think he's one of those players that maybe needs a little bit more, you know, kind of match fitness. You know, just to push that a little bit longer in terms of starting from the outset. But no, I think it's a non-issue. I think the only people that can really kind of answer it, you know, if there is an issue, is either Podolski or you know, Arsene Wenger himself. But I don't think that's going to happen, is it?
No. Well, let's see. Let's just pose that question to the man himself. On the line, we've got Mr. Wenger. Mr. Wenger, can you first of all, can you give us your thoughts on yesterday's game? I also want to ask you about the second goal. Was Giroud offside? Did you see it? And thirdly, you know, this whole thing with Podolski. So, Mr. Wenger, please, your thoughts.
Well, you know, you pose a lot of questions. Yes, it was a tense game, frankly, in the first half. We showed a lot of mental strengths overall, but we showed character to get back, and we dominated in important areas of the pitch, especially in the center of the pitch, and overall it was very pleasing to see another clean sheet from the team, and overall I was quite content with the performance. Giroud, it was a little bit difficult to see because the linesman was running and his flag was in the way, so I didn't see it, frankly. So yeah, I blame the linesman. I didn't see it. But the other question, sorry, was
this whole thing with Podolski.
Yes, it's a sensational headline overall. But frankly, we were having brunch this morning, so I don't look into it. We're good friends, and frankly, there's no hard feelings about it. He's on the bench. It's a tough squad to get into, frankly, but overall, he's a good player, the best finisher in the squad by a mile. So I don't see any problem.
Okay,
frankly.
all right. Okay. Can I, before I open it out to the panel, I just wanted to ask you, you know, we saw on Monday night that you had a slight problem with your coat again. I mean, can't Nike do you a Velcro coat?
Well, you know, this is the big reason why we are now finishing with Nike and now going to Puma, because I've had it for 10 years or so with Nike, and I'm furious with them. So I told the Zidis, we have to change to Puma. We've now signed a deal with Puma. I believe their jackets are much more durable, much more, you know, easy to do up, because my fingers are a little bit fragile. So thank God we have Puma, frankly.
I suppose it's full of super quality, isn't it, really?
Super quality, yes. A little bit Velcro to help the zipping up overall, but you know, the guys in the kit room are very thankful that we now have Puma. No more problems on the touchline with the zip.
Cool. All right. Any questions from the lads?
When are you going to sign a striker, Arsene?
Well, you know, like we've always thought in Arsenal, I prefer to deal with internal solutions internal solutions means looking into my squad, and I believe we have a lot of strength with Niklas Bednar, Podolski, Gnabry, Chamberlain coming back. It's a very, strong squad with quite a lot of depth. So, frankly, I believe in internal solutions.
All right, well, that's it. I'm not talking to you anymore.
It's okay.
Cool. All right.
But maybe we beat Suarez. Maybe we give him a few more pennies. Maybe.
Or just get Thierry Henry back.
Yes, we could. But Thierry, no, he's gone. Okay.
Great stuff. Okay. Okay. So, well, seeing as you're here, Mr. Wenger, Mo's already asked the question about the transfer market. Everybody, you see the newspapers. You see, I don't know if you go on social media. If you do flick around, if you do surf around social media, you'll know that everybody and his dog's got an opinion, a suggestion.
Yes.
As to who we should buy, how much we should pay for them, Who have you sent your scouts out to see? Can you give us any sort of tidbit, anything that we can hang our shirts on?
Well, other than a coat hanger, I don't know. Frankly, my scouts are there to be secretive and be my spies around Europe. But, there's a few names branded out there. Maybe, we're looking at Berbatov. He has a very good touch. But frankly, Kenwyne Jones. But I cannot say. I'm keeping my cards close to my chest, frankly, because, I'd love to sign Suarez again, maybe, but he's shown a little bit more hunger this season, so maybe he wants me to sign him desperately, because they're not going to make Champions League. But
absolutely. I agree totally, Mr. Wenger. Mo, do you have any suggestions that you can?
Yeah, okay, so I put this out on Twitter earlier, and I ended up having a, Twitter debate argument with some people. But I've been watching Boney for a while. He really caught my eye against Man City. His willingness to pick the ball up and just pop a shot off, which is something I think we lack in our team. And I was looking at him today against Tottenham, and he was brilliant. He really was. And now I'm not saying that he's world class. I'm not saying that he's gonna, all of a sudden make us Champions League favourites. But my comment is on Boney. I believe he has got the base qualities required to potentially become a very, very good centre-forward. And Arsenal don't buy superstars, we make superstars. We've all heard that before. And Thierry Henry's proof with that. Nicolas Anelka's proof of that. Giroud is proof of that. Not that he's a superstar right now, but, when he came to the club, he was distinctly average. I think Boney, I'm not saying he's great. He's an average player, average striker, or slightly better than average. But he's got 7 goals for a team that's 15th in the league right now, and I think he really does have all of the required base qualities that Arsene Wenger can work with in creating something special. So, just your opinions on that, your thoughts, because when I try and think about suggestions for strikers in this window, there's no point in me saying Falcao, Messi, Van Basten, Ian Wright, Thierry Henry, and all that sort of stuff. Well, actually, Thierry Henry, there is a point. But, I'm trying to be realistic here. We're not going to sign Messi. We're not going to be able to get Costa. Let's be honest. Boney's proven in the Premiership. Someone like Boney, someone like Remy, I'd be happy to see Boney come in. What do you guys reckon? Rick.
Yeah.
Side note with that, all right.
There you go. That's your answer then.
Peter.
I think that's a fine pickup. I don't know that, people seem to be asking for a striker that's just by signing him alone is gonna win us the league. And like you said, we gotta be realistic. That's probably not the kind of striker we get. So, yeah, Boney and Remy, those are, quality players. I wouldn't mind bringing either of them in. Actually, I'd bring both of them in prior to Berbatov. Berbatov is technically, very gifted, but, if people are frustrated with Ozil's work rate, wait till they see Berbatov.
Absolutely. Peter, any final questions? Any final comments?
I'm of probably the few that think that we don't really need to sign that many people. If anybody, to be honest, I think we've got, really good We've got some really good depth. I think if there's any area that we need to look at strengthening, it's the defence. We've got a fantastic back four at the moment, but you can see right now at the moment, as an example, we've only really, I know Gibbs is coming back into contention now, but we've only really had Jenkinson as our only other option as a defender, not just as a centre back. With Vermaelen being out, and obviously Monreal having to step in in Gibbs' shoes. I think Monreal has taken it in his stride fantastically. By the way, he's done a really good job. But I think we do need a good, commanding centre back as a backup for the Mertesaelny. I think Vermaelen's lost it in the pecking order. I don't know if he's going to stay in the summer. I don't even know what's going to happen to him over the next couple of days, to be frank, because obviously it's a World Cup year. He wants to get in to play alongside company to Belgium, and he needs more time there. I think Vermaelen's got more of a future at Arsenal as a maybe a holding midfielder or a backup left back. So I think before we start looking for more to sign the next Falcao or Cavani or whoever it is, I think we need to look at the depth at the back, because we've got plenty of people up front that can score and finish, and we've got plenty of people in midfield that can do the same. We could even potentially do what Spain did in the last World Cup and just play with Fabregas up front. We could do the same with
not the false
or
nine.
anybody.
No,
yep.
No, come on. Any football purist has to have a striker on the pitch. Football is about scoring goals. I see you win games. No false nine. I hate that. Peter, come on. We need a striker.
But haven't Bayern Munich adopted the false nine in recent times with Pep Guardiola?
And look who they've just signed.
Lewandowski, yes,
exactly.
Indeed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll agree to disagree.
I have to say, Pete, I'm not so sure about going along with the round pegs in square holes. I don't really want to see Vermaelen as a DM. I'd like us to go out and get a DM, if we're going to get a DM, and keep... I know Vermaelen wants to play games, but to accommodate him in another position just to sort of sate his, to appease him, for me, it doesn't make sense for me. I want him to fight for his position. If he doesn't want to fight for his position, then he's welcome to leave. That's how I see it.
I would love to see him in a holding role to see how he would cope. I think he'd give us something a little bit different. He's good with the ball. He is a good defensive-minded player. He's just not the kind of player that I want to be the last line of defence. Replacing either Mertesacker or Koscielny. But I agree with you. We need to find another defensive midfielder, and if he wants to go, to get some more game time, then I'm not going to be. Well, not that I have any power to stop him anyway, but I'm not going to be the one guy holding him back. That's for sure.
Cool. I know you've got a dash now, Peter. So it's been great having you on. Thanks for making the time.
No problem.
Where are you going to be? Are you going to be still in Wellington for the FA Cup game, or will you be travelling?
I'll be up in Auckland. So I actually have to now literally dash to get in a car to drive up to Auckland.
Wow.
So I'm going to be stopping off halfway for a few days and then going to be up there. Then it's back to Sydney on the 31st. I think we've got Crystal Palace at the very beginning of the month. Then I'm off to Hong Kong, and I believe it's the Liverpool game. It might be the Man United game. I can't remember which one comes first. And then the rest of Southeast Asia awaits.
All right, great stuff. Mo, do you want to say?
Just pleasure speaking to you, Peter. Best of luck with everything that you're doing. I hope you stay safe out there, and I hope you keep your 100% success rate up, and I hope you meet your $15,000 target. As I said, send me the link. I'll definitely contribute, and hopefully the Arsenal Fan TV crowd will be quite generous and chip in. It's a great cause for breast cancer. So well done, and listen, if we win the league this year, then you have to piss off out the country every year. Because, if we win it this year, it's your fault that we haven't won in the last decade. So,
well, you know what? It's a funny story behind that, actually, because I was I was obviously at the Emirates for the first game of the season, and we lost against Villa.
There you go.
I was thinking to myself, oh God, okay, well I'm glad I'm getting out of the country now. And then from there, all the way up until West Brom, we had won basically every single game. And then we had gone from, so they were basically saying, okay, you need to stay on the road. Keep Gooner on the road was the hashtag. And I went from me having a on the road winning streak to an on the road unbeaten streak, and then it was an on the road unbeaten at home streak, which I think still applies. So yeah, I'm going to be back. I will be back for the last home game of the season, because there's going to be something in the works, just like there was for the first one. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but there's going to be something there. And then I will be looking for somewhere to stay for the Norwich game, which is the last game of the season, just to go out with a bang. So I've asked Arthur if I can kip on the pitch or in the dressing room. They haven't said no, but
if you're back for the last game, you should be able to lift the trophy.
There you go.
But Peter, listen, if you're back for the last game and on the last day of the season we need to win the league, honestly, mate, just don't. Yeah. You're not allowed to cross the border.
Well, I'll already be in the country, so
we'll find a pub. Don't come to the ground.
Well, no, I think it's about you being in the country. I think if you're in the country and we need to win the last game, you have to leave the country, mate.
Right. Okay. All right. But if someone wants to pay for my ticket,
I'll do it, man. I'll do it.
There you go. Pete, I know you got a dash. Thanks for coming on. You've been a great guest.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Cheers.
Great stuff. Take care. Right, guys, so Rick, you wanted to talk about the case for the defence.
Yeah, I mean, Peter's not on to hear this, but I just want to say that he brought up a great point about our defence, and I actually, as you know, wrote an article on the previous site, the Gunner Ramble, talking about the transfer window and the fact that we don't need a striker, we need a center back. And although I still feel that way, we're thinner at center back than we are anywhere else. I wrote that article obviously stating that strikers are fine because we can't possibly have the injury record, the bad luck on the injuries in the second half that we did in the first, and then 2 weeks later, Walcott blows his ACL. So I don't know if I'm equally to blame for things happening, bad omens, but before the transfer window started, I thought we needed a center back. I haven't changed my mind, but obviously the Walcott injury certainly has opened me up to being a little more flexible on a striker. But I don't think let's not forget about the defense. I think our fourth choice center back is Sonia moving over right now, and that's probably not optimal.
We've kept 10 clean sheets this season in the Premier League, Akil. 5th win on the bounce. Defence is doing not too bad. I mean, what's your thoughts on the defence?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think our defence has been absolutely superb, and I said it yesterday. I think Arsene Wenger's finally got a centre-back pairing, that he's sort of always wanted. I think this is probably as good as it's got since Sol Campbell and Kolo Touré. So, I don't know. I think to buy a centre-half at the moment, it would be tough. And I've sort of been listening to you guys talk about sort of a commanding centre-back. But would a centre-back want to come to Arsenal? I mean, we've watched Koscielny Mertesacker be first choice since March. They're not going to be dropped unless they're injured. Then you've got the club captain who's probably going to be the next choice, and he doesn't look like he's going to go in January at least. So someone's going to come in to be fourth choice. Now, will you get that sort of player? I mean, we've seen how hard it is with a striker to get a striker in. So, I mean, I don't know who we would get as someone who would actually want to come as a fourth choice. And to be honest, I think a right back would be my concern more than a centre back, because I think if Sammy has got now less than 6 months to run, we're not quite sure what's going to happen with him. We're sort of reading stories that he's close to signing, then he's not, then he is, then he's not. So I think a right back would be a priority, not a centre back for me, because I think if the worst case did happen and did get a few injuries and Sammy had to move over, I would be quite comfortable for that. But then obviously Jenkinson would be playing on the right, and then there's not much cover.
I totally agree with that.
In the summer, I think a right back. I mean, obviously, if Santi does go, we'll probably be on the market anyway. But For me, that's the priority. I think on the left, we're fine. I think, I think Monreal's come in and done really well. Thought yesterday he was great as well. So I think we're fine there. I think defensive midfield, I think we're fine. I think Flamini's come in and he's done well. Him and Arteta can sort of rotate a lot, which is great. I think last year we were over-reliant on Arteta, whereas this year we're not. And I think it's such a great thing to have both of them there, that you can sort of play one, whoever's best suited to that actual game. And if you do want to play both, like we did against Napoli at home, where arguably it was one of our best performances, you can play both as well. So I think we're okay. I was just the right back situation does concern me, because if Sanya doesn't sign, we could be snooping a bit.
Right. I mean, so this is all for the summer. I imagine what those comments really sort of based upon what happens at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But would you like to see somebody come in now to cover that event, just in case?
Well, it's always good to have cover, but I wouldn't want to buy someone for the sake of it. I mean, why buy a fourth choice centre back or maybe a second choice right back who's a bit of a squad player, but isn't gonna, isn't a part of the long term? Why not just back Jenkins? And he's been here long enough. Let's just back him. He's an Arsenal lad. If we're going for a title, he would no doubt give 100% for this football club. And to buy someone in who might take a while to settle, I would rather play Jenkins on the right and play Santi in the middle. Two players that know our teams. I would say go with what we've got rather than buy. So I think it's a bigger decision in the summer, because then we'll know the contract situation for Santa. So that's my opinion anyway.
Okay. All right. I want to bring in Dan Levine from FTP Pro. Dan, you've been sitting here, you've been listening very patiently to what we've been discussing. I want to ask you about the defence, your thoughts on the defence. Do you think we've got enough to cover us for this season, and then going into the summer? Do you see Sanya signing that new deal? If he doesn't, do you want to see us bring in a new CB or a new right back? I mean, there's also not only Sanya, you've also got the problem with the question of Vermaelen. If he doesn't get many more games this season, in the summer, could he go? Do you think we should get in a hybrid, somebody that can play both positions, like a Winston Reid, who I mentioned, last autumn, that I think he's got what it takes to succeed at somewhere like Arsenal. I think he's outgrown his wings. He's outgrown himself over there at West Ham. He'd be a great addition. I know I've asked you quite a few questions, so try and take them one step at a time. The defence.
Yeah, I think for this season, if we look at the season on its own, I think we've got enough, and I agree with a couple of points made there. Sanya, just one point about Sanya. I don't know if every game I watch him, he wins every header. And I sometimes wonder why he's not up there for corners, because he has got an amazing spring and just gets up there. So if he had to if we had to use him as a centre back role, he plays alongside Koscielny, or he plays alongside Mertesacker anyway. I think he'd fit in fine if we needed to put Jenkinson on the right. And Jenkinson's 21. He's young. He's very athletic, and I think he's going to gain. He's going to become a much more experienced player as we go. He's playing alongside players. There's a lot of experience in that team, so I think he's going to improve greatly, and he'll be our right back in the future. I think, unless we sign someone else. But I think for this season we're fine. I really do. I think going into next season, I'm sure Wenger's planning to buy someone on in the centre back, because we don't know what's happening with Vermaelen at the moment. It's great that we can bring someone like Vermaelen on if there is an injury to Mertesacker or Koscielny. Left back, it's great at the moment. Gibbs and Morel. So I think with Sanya being used as a centre back, I think we're okay for this season going forward. And I think there's such confidence in that back five, including the keeper, including Szczesny, that I think it's okay at the moment. But let's see. I mean, in the summer we'll need to sign someone for a centre back position, and defensive midfield using as defensive midfielder. Well, Flamini's it's just amazing watching him. So I know we have Arteta, Flamini, we have a lot of options there. So probably I think we should sign someone who's a pure centre back. I think it's important to sign someone who's pure rock hard centre back.
You made a point about the DMs, the Flaminis and the Artetas, and it's funny. I think Arteta had a good game. When did he play last? It wasn't.
Yeah, as well.
It wasn't the one against Aston Villa. It's game before,
yep.
I think. And before that game, everybody was saying, "Oh, he's lost. His legs have gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's past it. Get rid of him in the summer. Bring somebody else young and whatnot."
Yeah.
And I think some of our fans are so quick to jump on a performance that maybe isn't as good as they expected it to be, and they make excuses, they find reasons. Oh, Özil's lazy, Santi, he's inhibited by Özil, Giroud, he's not a top class striker.
How about all the stuff about Monreal after the City game?
Monreal,
of course he's proven that he's a quality player since.
Exactly, Podolski, should we get rid of him? And now you come to the DMs, Do you think that some fans, you go around, you interview fans and whatnot, you get fan reactions and so on and so forth. Do you think some of our fans, or fans in general in football clubs, they can be a bit quick to pillory?
Yes. I have my views on that. I can't, what, it's sometimes frustrating to hear fans, generally football fans, not just Arsenal fans. Hearing fans talk about, Chelsea fans talking about Mourinho and, David Moyes and even, AVB when at Spurs. I think these decisions in football, and fans, they drive it with the media. They drive and they jump on the bandwagon, you got to get behind your team and have faith. And there's nothing more important than consistency in teams. And you've got to have the, consistent run with players and managers and things like that. The fans, they're fickle. A lot of them are just fickle and they want results instantly. And look, you want results, you want to win games, you want to, be the top of the table. Not everyone, if you had 20 Alex Fergusons managing teams, you still have one at the top, one at the bottom. And the point I'm making is, fans they jump too quickly to conclusions. And just coming on to talked about Arteta, for example. Arteta, people were complaining about him. The way he plays the game, it's not all about pace, and it's about his positioning and how he reads the game. He is, I think, one of the best players on our team reading the game. He gets into positions, he can win the ball off big, stronger players than him, but by just reading the game, it's amazing to watch. So he's, having guys like him on the team is really important. And I think those are your two points, 2 questions. But Flamini, Arteta, they're just. Flamini is vital for us. He's come in and you watch him when we're setting up for a free kick or a corner. You just watch him, off the ball. He's shouting, he's getting everyone going. This is vital for a team that wants to win trophies. So, just a quick point. I remember first game of the season, walking out of the stadium, Aston Villa, and everyone, people were booing. And I was clapping. But I was clapping because I want to support my team. And a guy next to me, he was getting upset with me that I was clapping and having a go at me. And I said to him, just, first of all, this is the first game of the season, and he was really having a go. And I said, look, actually look at our squad. Our squad is quite strong, and, we have players coming back, and, things turn around, and I believe our squad, we can bring on players like Rosicki and Podolski and Chamberlain. That's strength in the squad, and I think we've got some good chances here. Let's see. Obviously, Man City are very strong now.
Yeah. Okay. Rick, you want to say something about the Arteta Flamini?
Oh yeah, I think I agree completely with Arteta. I think he's become somewhat underrated with the return of Flamini, but he's still an excellent reader of the game. My only problem with Arteta all along was I think he gets a little exposed with his lack of pace and sometimes picks up some fouls and some yellow cards that I think if he's just a little bit quicker, he might pull off a little more cleanly. But if I've been looking at statistics, Arteta has more tackles, more interceptions, I think, than anyone else on the team, and including Flamini on a per game basis. But I think a lot of people think just because of the way Flamini plays that he's somehow more effective defensively, and I'm not convinced of that. I think Arteta's really done a brilliant job.
And, if I can just come in here, I think this is similar to what I was talking about with Özil. Compare him to someone who's kind of all action and will go charging about. It's just to the untrained eye. When a player His reading of the game is really good. We don't notice that as much as we notice a crunching challenge. So, I'm glad that the statistics kind of support Arteta, because Flamini's noticeable. He's explosive. Arteta is a lot more unappreciated in the way he goes about the game.
They say at work, as long as you're seen to be working.
Exactly. Exactly.
The boss won't know any different.
What's the point?
For life.
Can I say that again, Axe? Sorry?
That rule has worked for me most of my life.
But, what's the point of being 10 yards in the wrong position and then sprinting 8 yards and, having to lunge the last 2 and pulling it off, when you can just do it effectively by being in the right place,
Exactly.
Just so you don't get the credit for it.
Exactly.
Bit like Mertesacker there, isn't it? I mean,
exactly like Mertesacker. He's the best reader of the game in our entire team. One of the best readers of the game in the entire league. He's phenomenal. His lack of pace is unbelievable. He should not be a professional footballer, given his pace. But his reading of the game is so impeccable that he completely mitigates it.
And that bore out in when I was looking at statistics as well, where statistically, Mertesacker is a very quiet player. Not a whole lot of tackles, not a whole lot of interceptions, almost no fouls. But that's one of the things statistics don't tell you, is how intelligent somebody plays.
Exactly.
And he's a prime example. He is our defense, but statistics don't bear that out, because statistics measure activity, not intelligence.
True. Very good. I just want to, before we move on, I read the Arsenal membership newsletter yesterday, and Laurent Koscielny was, has had a few words to say on his partnership with Mertesacker, and he says his game is more risk-based. He tries to anticipate the situation more because he's pacier, and he plays with that kind of way. So he tries to get to the ball first. He takes more risks, so therefore it can lead to more mistakes. But with somebody like Per behind him, who's more assured, who's a better reader of the game, it works. They complement each other, and it's a shame that football's not a 12-man game where we could have both Arteta and Firmino on the pitch at the same time, as well as the other 4 or 5 midfielders. But I definitely think that Arteta his legs haven't gone, and like you said, Dan, his game is not built on pace. Just much like Mertesacker, he's an intelligent footballer. He tries to read the game and be in the right place at the right time, and it's not all about being seen to be the hardest working. There's more to it than that. There's more nuances than that. Definitely. All right, so moving on from there, let's get into our rant of the week. As we do, it used to be the 30-second rant, but I'm gonna increase it to a 40-second rant to give you guys more time. Dan, if you're not familiar, well, we won't be familiar with this, but we do a rant. We give everybody a chance to get something off their chest, something that's just bothered them this week, whether it's Arsenal related or just generally football related. So you got 40 seconds, to get this shit off your chest.
Okay.
We'll start with our guest, Dan, and then we'll move on to Mo, Rick, and then Akil.
You put me on the spot here.
I have indeed. And before we start, I know I should have tested this before the show, but can you guys hear that?
No.
Fucking hell! I'm going to do away with that. Anyway,
never mind. Dan, have you got a rant prepared? Have you got an idea?
I'll have to think of something.
All right, Mo. Let's let you go first.
Yeah, just give a bit of time, I guess.
It's going to be the rant of the month, because I haven't been on the show before. So maybe it's a rant of the month.
Okay, you've got 40 seconds to do it, but I'll give it to. I said it. Okay, we'll do Mo, Rick, Akil, and then we'll come to you, Dan. So cool. Mo, your 40 seconds start now.
All right, my run of the week is about Alan Shearer and Danny Murphy, their punditry on Match of the Day. I don't criticise the pundits for their opinions in terms of Arsenal, because I think they're doing us a favour, but one thing that really pissed me off was Luis Suarez dived. That's a fact. There was a little bit of contact with the goalkeeper, but football's a contact sport. Them two sat there on their stupid little sofa saying it wasn't a dive. Of course it was a bloody dive. this is going on national TV. There's kids watching this. If you're going to justify Suarez's dive on national TV, the future of football, the way kids are going to be playing the game, is forever going to be this cowardly, pathetic diving nature. It was a clear dive. Contact is allowed in football.
Great stuff. Right, who did I say was up next? Is it you, Rick?
I think you did.
Good. Right, Rick, your 40 seconds starts now.
Okay, mine's gonna probably a little week late, but I haven't been on the pod in a while, so I'm gonna pick on Alan Pardew, and I know I might be poking at you guys. Mo and Giles had a little pat out a little bit about Pardew.
Yes, we did.
But I was watching that match last week, and when that goal was disallowed, I'm sitting there watching in this anticipation because Pardew's a dick. And you just know he's going to make an ass of himself. And I'm waiting, and he didn't really do it. And then he's having a go at Pellegrini. And I finally got my little moment of entertainment out of the situation. But this guy, he's a grown man, and he's acting like a 16-year-old. Oh, come on. He's a grown man acting like a petulant child, and it's just, he embarrasses his club, and I think he's just, as I said, a dick.
Cool. All right, good stuff. All right, Axe, you're up next.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
You stole my Alan Shearer one. I had all these Newcastle results from when he was manager, which was lost already, but I'll change it now. I've got someone else.
Are you good to go? Do you want a moment?
Nah, I'm ready.
Right, okay, so your 40 seconds starting right about now.
My rant is about the person that we bidded £40 million and £1 for such a talented world-class player. Why does he need to dive? I mean, it's not like he's, been caught being racist or bit anyone. I mean, oh God, for such a talented, I dreamt that I could be a footballer, but I mean, I pretty much, like Santi's got 2 legs, I've got none. So I mean, it's just like, it frustrates me to see such a good bloody player, behave like that. It's just a waste. If we could take his talent, I would take it tomorrow, because the guy is just...
Right. So, Dan, you seen how it works?
Yep.
Right. You got one, I take it?
Yeah, I got one.
Cool. All right, so your 40 seconds start about now.
My rant is at the FA and West Brom, because it's taken too long to make a decision on the Anelka salute that he did a couple of weeks back now. I think it just unfortunately showing what cowards unfortunately are running the game of football. I mean, it's obvious, it's the whole of France. They had it was all in the papers. It was a disgrace. West Brom is still playing him, and I hadn't come out and said anything, and FA taking a long time, and it's even the thing with the John Terry thing. Chelsea still continue to play him, and he's the captain. I think the double standards in football, and then it's got to change the FA, and it's just a disgrace, really, to be honest.
Boom. Great stuff. Thank you very much. All right, so that was your rants of the weeks.
Giles, do you have a rant?
Oh, no.
Right.
I just love football too much. Right, before we go, we've got one more. Go on, Mo.
I don't know if this is what you're going to say, but we obviously have to talk about one thing.
Absolutely.
Hey! Hashtag Moyes in. I love that guy. I just love that guy. Do you know what? Every single time on a Sunday evening, I'm thinking, recording the podcast later, Man United have always messed up. And I always think, I've got to talk about that. It's just brilliant. It's like an integral part of my weekend now. I just absolutely love it. They're just so crap. They're just so crap. I said on Twitter earlier, the biggest insult I can pay United is the fact that I really want them to win today. That is how far they have fallen. Man United's presence in the Premier League is of utter insignificance to Arsenal Football Club. Simple as that.
Axe or Rick, have you got anything to say on the subject?
I'm just enjoying the downfall. I have a coworker sits right across from me. This is a big Manchester United fan, so Mondays are special to me right now. I get to go in there and harass him.
And Axe?
For me, I don't care what Manchester United do all season, but please just beat Man City when they play. Just one game, turn up that, and I'll be a happy man.
The last one on the subject has to go to the special one himself. So, Jose, thanks for coming on late in the day. What are your feelings about today's result, today's game?
The best team played, the best team won. I've just gone to, I had to wake up because I want to speak to Arsenal Fan TV. And I got to say, Moisey, Davy, you're a great man, a great coach. But please keep on managing United because I love to win. I love to win. And I want win.
Hey Josie, have you been working with Czech on his skills with his feet? That was pretty impressive today.
Yes, we worked on this. It was a very good attempt. We had a lot of training. We tried to do this when he takes the ball, flick it over, but he did not flick it over. I was very unhappy. I'm very unhappy. I'm going to bed very unhappy tonight. Very unhappy.
So you weren't upset that he took a chance. You were upset that he didn't do it with enough flair.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Exactly. I live on the edge. I live on the edge.
Great stuff. Thanks for coming on, Jose. I'm sure you're cock a hoop, and then got your boys right in back in the championship race, and at the same time dismissing Man United's championship chances. I know you guys must have seen earlier in the day David Moyes saying that they were still in the title race. They're still the biggest club in the world. And then Koke promptly went and signed a new deal with Athletic Bilbao, so that made my day. To wrap up, I just want to thank all the guys for coming on. Dan Levine, who's come on, he's done the Thierry Henry, the Arsene Wenger, and the Jose Mourinho impressions. Dan, who do you work for? What do you do? Yeah. Let people know what you're about.
Cheers. Yeah. So thanks for having me on, guys. I work for AFTV Pro. Check it out. We're the largest fan-driven media channel for football. Get writing on FTV Pro if you wish. Check out on YouTube. We're going around the grounds interviewing fans for all clubs. Getting some good content out there. So I'll be coming to a stadium near you soon. Check out FTVPro.com. Download the app if you want. It's free. Good stuff on there. And hope to speak with you guys soon.
Definitely. Thanks for coming on, Dan. So that's been a good around an AFTV podcast. So guys, let me go around you guys. Say your good night, Rick.
Good night, folks.
Axe.
Yeah, good night.
And do you still hate Tottenham, Mo?
Oh God, I really hate Tottenham still.
Great stuff. That's been.
I still hate Sam Allardyce. He's still useless.
Great stuff. All right, so we'll see you guys again next time. This is me, G, saying good night from the Gooner Ramble. Thank you.